Okay, welcome everybody to Launch Your Business. This is week 3, and we're going to be talking about presenting tonight. Okay, so as you guys know, we've been talking through our pipes. We've been talking about preparing, how to invite effectively, how to present effectively. And then next week, which is what we're going to talk about this week, and next week we'll be talking about enrolling and then supporting our team members. So again, as we talked last week, we said last week was the first week in our income producing activities. So this is another week that this is an income producing activity. So this is where we're going to want to spend the majority of our time when we're building our business. And so tonight we're going to be talking about presenting the products, presenting the opportunity, and how to do that effectively. Now, you'll have to bear with us. We're actually changing, kind of tweaking how we've been presenting, and we're actually, those of you guys who are on our Building 3 Life Essentials group, last night I did a Facebook Live about how we have a sales training coach who is providing a free training to all of us tomorrow. I hope that majority of you will be able to jump in on that tomorrow. It is at 2 p.m. Central, and it's going to be fantastic. But so we're trying to do some shifting here in how we're presenting, but it's still going to follow a similar format to this. And we're also going to be thinking about, I'm a little distracted here with all the wildness happening with my little ones upstairs. Sorry, so you have to excuse me. But we're also wanting to think about not only how we can present effectively, but then be fluid in as times change and as we learn new things, be open to, kind of shifting maybe how we're presenting something. So, and that's kind of where we are with this. So, but let's go over, last week we talked about making sure you have your right tools, starting to invite people to take action and following up with those people, and then finding a few things that you thought maybe were helping your business, but they aren't really income producing activities, and trying to figure out some ways to eliminate those activities. So anybody have anything they want to share about their action items that they did, or anybody want to share something that was surprising that to you, that really wasn't an income producing activity, but maybe you found a great way to maybe eliminate that or lessen how much you're working on it? Anybody? You can type it in the chat box, it's fine. You don't have to speak up. Keep thinking about it. I want to find out, I think it was Nichelle said that she ended up having 3 one-on-ones booked from the Text Blitz. You can type in the chat box if you have already had those and let us know how those went. So Nichelle is the winner of the doTERRA branded car diffuser and white fur. And because Matt reported back, didn't actually get no's per se, but he was getting some no responses. He is the winner of our pipes pad and the bottle of cedar wood. So congratulations, you guys. And we'll work on getting those to you. But so think through. So we're in our launch guide here, and I'm trying to remember which page this is on. Oh, I think is it 12 and 13? I'm missing. All of a sudden, my launch guides disappeared. But now we're talking about presenting. We've narrowed down our focus. Hopefully we've made our contact list, and we're narrowing down our focus to who we're wanting to maybe reach out to first. One set up tomorrow and the other 2 scheduled for next week. Awesome, Nichelle. So there's different places and different ways that you can present. to people. It can be through a class. It can be through a one-on-one type event where you meet up Starbucks, or you know, meeting in your living room. You can do it as a three-way call, maybe with the person who enrolled you, and you're talking in a three-way call like that. You can do it on a Zoom chat just like this. In fact, you guys, you can actually set up your own Zoom account for free and do chats like this for free. The only limitation is the difference between a paid account like the one that we have is you're limited on the amount of time. I think you're limited to 40 minutes at a time. So this is another great way to meet with somebody, especially if maybe they have crazy schedules and they're across town and you have trouble meeting up, or meeting online, or they're, you know, across the United States, or across the world even. Actually, I will say you can. We did a Zoom chat just a couple of days ago with someone in the Philippines, so it can be done. So use Zoom chat. In fact, if your 40 minutes is up, you can actually even log out and just log right back in. It doesn't work so well as for like a webinar situation, but you can absolutely, you know, have a Zoom chat like this. You can do it through online webinars and videos. You can attend an event with a guest that's already happening. doTERRA has corporate events all the time across the U.S. In fact, they're going to be next month. They're going to be in San Antonio, and in May they're going to be doing a Wellness Prosperity Summit here in Houston. So so you can just go to doTERRA's website and find where there are events happening all over, corporate events, and you can invite someone to go with you. Or even most of doTERRA's culture is set up to where if you hear of a class that's happening, or many of us publicize our classes on our websites and things like that, or Facebook pages. And if you hear of a class that's happening, ask the person who's hosting or teaching it, hey, I've got a guest that I like to bring with me. Is that all right? And 9 times out of 10, it is completely open to anybody who wants to come. So think about that as well. In fact, I'm not sure if this is something I'm talking about later or not, so I'll go ahead and tell you about it now. But if you're local to us in Houston, and even I can't remember if I saw Amy on here in our California team, you know, there are local classes that are happening regularly. Roxy Saran hosts a class over at Jitters Coffee Shop in Atascocita, where it's a regularly scheduled weekly class. Actually, it may be every other week, but you can find that on roxysaran.com, and you can invite a guest to come with you there and have a meet up with you. Or you can even contact Roxy and say, hey, I have someone coming, but I'm not able to be there, and she can help them. She will help present, and then she will send the person back to you to enroll. And that's really how doTERRA's culture is set, that same for us. You are always welcome to invite any of your prospects to any of our classes. It is helpful to kind of give us a heads up ahead of time if you're sending someone and not coming with them, so that we can know to help take care of them. And then what we do is we teach them, and then we send them back to you to help get them enrolled. So, so your contacts are always your contacts. Chiropractic offices. I've taught a class before at a chiropractic office. There are lots of places and ways that you can present doTERRA. So, and I'm curious, why do you guys think it is important to be an effective presenter? Anybody want to type in why you think captivates people? Okay. Well, get the message across. Okay, those are good ideas. You know, it's said that a confused mind never makes a decision. They usually walk away. So if the people that are coming to your class or meeting with you one-on-one they're confused, they typically will not enroll or make a decision because they just don't know what to do. And so it's helpful to be an effective presenter so that you can, oils are a learning curve and it can be overwhelming at times. And so you want to present effectively so that, yes, so that you're not, like Amy Culp just said, and not just fire hosing people or vomiting all of the information because we have a tendency to want to just, oh my goodness, kind of like we saw last week with the how not to share, with the dog just jumping all over and going CPTG and oh yeah, and all these oils and this is and this and this, and it can be a little overwhelming. And even just even a simple presentation can be overwhelming, just because to some people that have either had no background with using any kind of natural solution or has never heard of essential oils, never experienced them before, it can be quite a steep learning curve. So just some things to be thinking about. I'm curious what you guys could think on a scale of 1 to 10. How important do you think it would be for people to understand certified pure therapeutic grade? Six, so middle of the road. You don't want to commit, huh, Matt? So think about this. What keeps somebody in a class from coming in? And when I say class, I mean all of those different ways that we can either present through a Zoom chat or one-on-one. But what would keep someone who's attended a class from learning a whole lot about essential oils and how to use them and different ways that they can use them, and then walking out and going to the drugstore and getting the lavender that you just told them all about that's so amazing? Any thoughts? Because I've had people do that. You told me that this lavender was going to do this, this, and this for me and be helpful to me. And I found it really cheaply at the drugstore. So I didn't see your post today. Maybe I did, Amy. Oh, yes, your post today. I think I even shared your post, Amy. So we have to let them know what makes doTERRA different so that they can understand as a consumer that quality is everything. Think about before you understood about the difference with doTERRA. I mean, if I were at the grocery store and I saw them for much cheaper, I wouldn't have known why it wouldn't be helpful to me or why it could even be harmful to me to get that. So they really have to understand what sets doTERRA apart. So we're gonna talk about that too. So we want to set ourselves up for kind of a successful presentation. And one of the ways that is best to do that is to become a student yourself, to watch as many presentations as you can. I remember when we first started doing the business, I was mostly at home, so I couldn't really go and attend classes much with all the three boys. So I was watching any and every webinar I could, even if it was an introductory class that I thought I had probably seen 4 times. Many times it was a different person teaching, and so I knew I was going to learn something different from the way that person presented. And I did. I found good nuggets from each time I watched a class being taught, and I would get, oh, I like how they said that. I'm going to write that down. And so I would just learn in that way. Or you can attend local classes. doTERRA has Class in a Box, and so does Share Success. They have, both of them have a Class in a Box where they have a DVD that will teach the class for you completely or portions of the class. And I like that because you can play that and also learn from that, being a student yourself. You want to have some good tools. You want to have clipboards for a class. You want to have pens. You want to have your diffuser ready to be able to have at a class. And then have your ideal time set up. I remember our very first class. In fact, Amy's a veteran and leader on our team. I'd love to hear, Amy, how long your first class was, because our first class was probably about an hour and a half long teaching. Just the teaching part was like an hour and a half long. We've even had them be almost 2 hours. You guys, that's too long. And those of you who maybe have been speakers for quite some time or have to give presentations at your job and things like that know that an ideal time is less than an hour. Ideally, if you can try to present in about 45 minutes, people will actually have a tendency to stick around longer and ask questions longer. And so if you can stick to the actual instruction part being shorter, you will find that people will stick around longer instead of the opposite. Usually the longer you are teaching, people will actually try to get out as soon as it's done. So, so just think about that as you're preparing to sit down one-on-one with somebody or prepare to teach a class. And then begin to also set your intentions for the class. We didn't do this tonight because I was a little frazzled, but typically, anytime you're presenting, and even when we did the launch, even the first two, we set our intentions. We mentioned, this is what our intention is for tonight. This, and this, for you to learn this, and this. Or our intentions tonight is to educate you and empower you. So think about what your intention is for that specific class and start to, and share that at the beginning. What'd you say, Amy? That's how I learned to teach classes too, YouTube. And you've totally killed the sale by talking past the buying zone. Yes, yes. Okay, so, oh, actually, another place to watch a class is Natural Solution. Well, actually, I don't think that's actually the website anymore. You can go to sharesuccess.com/class. And that's also a place where you can watch a class. Okay. And then, like I said, tomorrow, if you are on the sales training tomorrow, Tasha Smith is going to walk us through that as well. Oh, is that the wrong website, Amy, then? Or maybe try one of those. Oh, I think I typed in success incorrectly anyway. So, okay. So a successful class, speaking of Share Success, you want to think about introducing and edifying the presenter. And these are the ones we're going to go through each of these tonight. Giving an agenda, basically stating your intentions, gaining input from those in the class or the person that you're meeting with, sharing the company story. And then number 5 is kind of optional, but this is where you would share a brief your story, basically like how I got into this mess. Or how I got into using oils or doTERRA. And then lastly, personalize the kit. Okay, so we'll start with introducing and edifying the presenter. And this is not going to apply when you are edifying the presenter is actually not going to apply when you are hosting a class and you are the presenter. And that may be how it is maybe when you're first starting out. You might be in some situations where you are the host and the presenter or the teacher. But when you are, for instance, you have someone who's hosting a class for you and you are coming to present or you are teaching, it is really helpful to talk to the person who's hosting ahead of time and ask them to welcome everybody and edify you. And what I mean by that is basically they're going to say how they know you and how you are like the bomb.com, right, Matt? And the reason they're going to do that is because typically the person who's hosting, they're the person who has the relationship with the people that you're getting to know. And you are giving the people that the host is giving the people who are in attendance a reason to want to listen to what the person who's teaching has to say. You're just kind of giving some validation to them, okay? And then in return, when the person who's teaching starts talking, they will in turn edify the host and basically talk about how they are the bomb.com. Okay, so, and the reason doing that, and when both people are edifying each other, it gives validity, and it also, the teacher now is, the host is getting validity of a reason why they want to continue to trust their friend, that the person they have the relationship with, their friend who's introduced them to this craziness, okay? So it works really well in edifying each other. Okay, Jim's joining us now. I'm gonna, let me unplug this so you guys can hear him too. So I'm gonna catch him up to speed. We're talking about introducing and edifying presenters, bomb.com people. So
we got a lot of those on our team.
Yes, we do. So you're going to introduce yourself and then edify the presenter. And the class size is going to also determine how you kind of begin the class with introductions. If it is a one-on-one kind of scenario, obviously you're going to play that out just like you would any other kind of introduction or hey, and it's going to be much briefer. But a small class, maybe like 2, 3, 5 people, you're going to ask them to introduce themselves and tell us what you'd like to learn. So everybody go around the room and you're going to introduce yourself and tell us what you'd like to learn. And this is really helpful because not only you're putting names to faces if you are not the person who has the relationships with these people, but even if you are, then you start to hear more of where you want to tailor the class. You're hearing their pain points. I'm really hoping to come and learn because I've heard a lot about how this can help anxiety, and so I really want to learn more about this. Or my son is just not sleeping at night, and so I'd like to learn about that. Or the person says, I have no idea about oils. I don't know anything about them at all, so I'm just coming to see what this is all about. It really starts to give you a picture of hearing about them and their needs. If it's a bigger class, maybe you want to say, we want you to think in your head about what you most want to learn, and then just ask if somebody's willing to be brave and share. So have maybe one person share, maybe somebody who's a little bit more outspoken. Okay, so next you're going to give them an agenda, and this is where you're stating your intentions. You're going to tell them what you're going to be talking about. What is it you always like to say, Jim, about presenting?
First, you tell them what you're going to tell them, and then you tell them, and then you tell them what you told them.
Okay, so here you're going to tell them what you're going to tell them. You know, today we're going to talk about your health goals and your concerns because they've just said some of those. We're going to talk a little bit about the company and then some of the most popular products. And our part, or you can say my part, if it's just you, my part's going to take about 30 minutes. You guys do not have to buy anything, but if you do see something you like, we can help you order it. And then you can move from there.
Now that sentence right there, I don't know if you've hit on this yet, I apologize. Forgive me for being late, but that sentence right there is really key because they know that you're presenting something for them to purchase. We know that we're presenting something for them to purchase. Everybody knows we're going to talk about something to buy. And when we say that, it takes the pressure off. Now, immediately then, 2 things happen. So first off, the pressure is now relieved from them. So now the big white elephant in the room has been addressed. And then the second thing is psychologically, typically what happens is somebody might in the back of their mind go, oh, you can't tell me not to buy anything. If I want to buy something, I'm going to buy it. And so then that, in some ways, that puts people in a frame of mind of purchasing. And so it has 2 really good there's 2 really good purposes behind that.
Yeah.
And so it's a phrase that you want to be sure that you put that in whenever you're talking to somebody about the oils.
And there's a really good reason to why we're saying to say some things like we're saying them, because we really want to focus on putting them first. And we can't do that if all we're doing is doing all the talking and we're not doing any listening to what their needs are, their concerns are. And so there's definitely we're not just saying these are how you should present because we think this is good. It's this is what works and what helps people make better buying decisions. In fact, Tasha's going to share with us tomorrow that, and some of you may have already heard this statistic before, but 20% of the people that you're going to be encountering with doTERRA are going to buy from you no matter what you say. You can't mess it up. Okay. You could say, do you want to buy this? And they, okay, sign me up, you know. And 20% are going to be the exact opposite. They're not going to buy from you no matter what you said to them. No matter if you told them I was going to give you the moon, and they're not going to set up an account. And then there's that
80%,
that other
60% in the middle.
That it's going to be up to you of whether or not they're going to make that decision. And this is why we're presenting in this way, to help you address that 60%, and so that 80% of the people who you're meeting with are making that decision towards health and wellness with doTERRA. So, and if you'll notice here on the left-hand side of the screen here, I have some note-taking sheets. And this is something we have at every class, and we're trying to slowly steer clear of, we're using less tear sheets and handouts for people. Now, they can go home with one after they've enrolled, but we're finding that more and more that if you're using the big pamphlets or packets that you're handing out to them during the class, they get distracted. And it's also, again, more overwhelming. Not only are they distracted from what you're presenting, but they're more overwhelmed, and they're also less likely to make a decision that day. Because think about when you've been someplace and you've been given a booklet of things, you're like, wow, look at all these options. I want to go home and think about these and look over all of them. And you want to lessen the likelihood of that and help them go ahead and just make that decision. Because once they've left the class, even if they have great intentions and they really do want to get started with doTERRA, the likelihood of them enrolling after they leave plummets, because that the motivation for them about why they actually needed these or why they actually wanted to get started, they remember that less. And so they go home, and even if they wanted to get started, they don't come back to you. They don't usually follow up. I mean, you have to end up doing all the chasing down and following up, and we're not in the business to do that, and we don't need to do that, really. So if we can help them make the decisions earlier and at the time that we're meeting them, the better. So if you have tear sheets and handouts, don't feel like they're at a loss, because I'm still giving them out just after they've made the decision, so that they can go home and look over that more and get more information, but just not during the class and while they're making that decision. So we like to use some blank tear sheets with the wellness pyramid, and we'll talk more about that, so that they can be able to write down some of those health goals and concerns and talk about some of those things, and write down names and family members that are coming to mind. And that's something I bring up. If we do mention the tear sheet, I'll say there's a place that as family members come to mind, as we talk through some of these things, because you're going to have family members or friends come to mind, jot those names down. And the reason we say to do that is because at the end, as they've already thought through these, now they have a more likelihood of wanting to share with them, maybe host a class, or they may want to just refer those people to you. So you want them to be thinking outside of just themselves, but also other people who come to mind. And then, so I encourage them to use the note-taking sheet to jot those things down, and jot down any aha moments, jot down any oils that they want to remember, and things like that. Okay, so now you're going to ask some more questions. Anybody want to say why they think it's helpful to ask questions during a class or when you're meeting with somebody one-on-one? You can just type it in the chat box.
Just a hint, if you've read Starfish, then you've got some really good some really good fodder on that. Okay, Matt, that's good.
Make the class
to make the
personal.
class personal.
Yeah.
You bet. Because we want to tailor it to the people that are there. We want to make sure that we're addressing their needs. Again, the class is about them. It's not about me and us and doTERRA. It's about them. And so the more you can get them to talk, the more you can find out about them, the more you're able to speak to their needs. And so that's going to be helpful. Absolutely.
So we're going to give you some questions that are good to kind of start with here. And then you can, what I like to do is I like to memorize some of these questions, and then the more that I memorize and practice them, when I get in those scenarios, I know which questions to ask based on kind of where we've already been talking. So what are your health goals? That's a great question to start with. Or what do you already know about doTERRA? You know, that response in itself can help give you really great insight into whether they've had some experience with doTERRA, whether they have a negative viewpoint about what they've been hearing, or whether they've heard about doTERRA's great reputation. And we like to say, so I don't bore you with a bunch of information you don't care about, tell me some of your health concerns. That's really helpful for those times when you will have times where people say, well, I don't really have any health goals. We're never sick. We're always healthy. Yes, people say that, that they never have. And so in their minds, they think, I have no need for doTERRA because we're never sick.
Yeah.
And so, so you can begin to kind of probe that a little bit more. And I like to say, like I said, so I don't bore you with a bunch of information you don't care about. Tell me about some of your health concerns.
And Michelle, that's good. So it gets them thinking about application in their own life too. And so that's really important.
Right.
And what Neil says in Becoming a Starfish is, he says, people are going to buy what you can get them to tell you they're going to buy. And so I'm paraphrasing, of course, but basically the idea is you want them to tell you what they need. And then later they're going to tell you how doTERRA can fit that need. So we're trying to get them to tell us what they need so that later they can tell us, so do you feel like this is a good fit? Yes. Okay. So you said it's a good fit. So then so that's kind of the direction that we're going.
And this is the part where we start to go over our version of the doTERRA Wellness Pyramid. You can find doTERRA's Wellness Pyramid online, and if you want to print it out, if you'd like our version of it, let us know, and we'd be happy to give it out to you. We usually have it if we're doing an actual class. I don't do this with a one-on-one. I usually just use it on the tear sheet, because as you guys can see, it's at the bottom of the note-taking sheet. But in a class setting, I have these, and I usually go over this so that it's sitting out. But this is the time, and you guys can go into this a little bit more in depth from Being a Starfish book with Neil Anderson, but this is the time when you're also beginning to help people notice some areas of pain in their lives, some places that are uncomfortable. Because if you notice, when you buy solutions to your pain. Think about the last thing you purchased. You're buying typically a solution to a problem or a solution to pain in your life. And so we're helping them kind of build some awareness of that. And so we talk about, in our classes, we talk about stepping back and looking at the big picture of our wellness. This also gets them thinking about the fact that doTERRA is not just oils. This is wellness. This is our overall lifestyle of wellness. And so we usually go through each one of these areas and talk about how they're building blocks. And we have, and I do this with a one-on-one too, we say, I want you to rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 on each of these areas. And as they're rating themselves, 1 being I'm terrible at this, and 10 being I'm rocking this area, rating themselves, and then we walk them through each one of these areas. We kind of just give a brief description of what each of these areas look like, so that they can begin kind of mulling that over and thinking that through. So spiritual life, do you have a relationship with your Creator? Are you spending regular time in prayer and meditation? Eating whole foods. What do you know? What types of foods you're eating? Are you getting, fast foods a lot of the times, or are you eating homegrown, or is it you're growing your own food? What are you eating? Are you getting consistent exercise? And then building on that, how is your rest? What is the quality of your rest? And how are you managing the stressors that are coming in? Reducing your toxic intake. Do you know what's in your personal products, your cleaning products, or what you're breathing in, putting on your body? How knowledgeable are you about those items? And those being our lifestyle portion of our health. And then we talk about the top two portions, our healthcare, the informed self-care, being, when you have something come up, do you know how to be able to take care of it either naturally and effectively? And then proactive medical care. If you have a diagnosis of some sort, do you have a healthcare professional that you can work with in addressing those needs? And we talk about how we, as a general rule, we have a tendency to start right at the top when something comes up, and we neglect all those areas beneath that can be greatly impacting our health and our wellness. And then, so we usually give just a few minutes for them to finish filling those out. If it's a class, I just watch and make sure when everybody's finishing up. Then I ask if anybody wants to tell us an area where they're an 8 or a 9. Because we want to get some participation happening even more and hearing from them where they feel like they're doing really well. And we want to celebrate that, right? If you feel like you could teach somebody how to eat well, you want to try to shout that out a little bit. And then we ask somebody who wants to be brave and say an area maybe where they're like a 2 or a 3. And it's helpful to share that and talk about how this is not meant to be a condemnation time, but really just to build awareness. And, what's going to happen if those numbers don't improve in 1 year, or in 5 years, or even in 10 years? And you can really begin to see, especially in a class, really those wheels turning in people's minds, and they start to shake their heads and they're thinking, yeah, like this area for me is not okay. It's not going to be okay if it's the same. And then on the positive, the flip side of that, what if we could improve these numbers? What if we could work on some of them? What would that feel like? And I know for me, my lowest area was consistent exercise. Well, still is. And I think if I were able to bump that up, I would feel amazing, because I know how amazing I feel when I'm getting consistent exercise. Mm-hmm. And so you want them to be in thinking about what that's going to feel like when they're able to bump them up. And so this is a really, really great exercise. And Neil Anderson, our Blue Diamond with doTERRA that we love, his book, he would suggest that this is the crux of your class, if you can help them begin to see this, because they really begin to see, wow, I've got to do something. And you're about to give them some solutions.
And I think I want to just tag on to that last question again. What if we could work on some of these areas and bring them up a couple of points? And then I think, again, you want their buy-in. So I would say, sorry, would you be open to that? And get the nod, get the yes, get the thumbs up. How many of you would be open to doing that if we could do it naturally? Because you want them to say yes to the class as much as possible, yes to the opportunity as much as possible. And so we're presenting another yes there.
Yeah. And so this is an opportunity also where they could maybe then write down some of those health goals or health concerns if they didn't already have some when you've talked about them earlier. This may have jogged their brains for some other areas that they want to work on. And so now you're going to tell them a little bit about the company, about doTERRA. And this is your opportunity to now tell about what oils are and how to use them. And you could even say that, we're going to talk now about what oils are and how to use them. And so here's where you'll talk about how they're not new. Oils are not new. A lot of people think that they're a new fad, and it's helpful for people to begin to see that this is actually ancient medicine. It's been used for many, many years. Sometimes we'll give some examples, and you can see some of that even from your Share Success tear sheet if you want to share a couple of those, ancient uses or things like that. You want to share with them that they're natural, but yet they're also powerful. And that essential oils are produced naturally by plants. They're used to protect the plant from bacteria, from predators, from viruses and things like that. And that they're usually either steam distilled or they're cold pressed. So just some simple information about what oils are. You can add a little bit about, the peppermint leaf, bursting them in their hands, and that's actually the essential oil sacs. Or you could share about if you've ever peeled an orange and that zest, the juice comes off of that, that's an essential oil, giving them some application, some practical application experiences where they may have actually already had experiences with essential oils, they may not realize it. So that's when you're going to tell them about what are essential oils. This is a great time if you want to kind of break up the class a little bit with passing around an oil. It's a great time to maybe pass around peppermint if you'd like to just kind of liven up the room. Or you can wait till when you talk about ways to use essential oils. Because it's a great time to start passing around a couple of oils when you're talking about 3 ways to use oils. So you're going to always want to talk about the 3 ways. And when you talk about each one, you're going to talk about the how and the why. So for aromatic use, you're going to show them how to use an oil aromatically, and then why would you use an oil aromatically. So you can show them, I usually show, just smelling right out of the bottle or putting a drop in your hands and cupping it. And that's a good time that you could pass around either peppermint, maybe wild orange is a great one to kind of pass around. And then, or diffusing, and then you can maybe kind of direct them to see a diffuser going and talking about how it can disperse the oils into the air.
And we try ahead of time, if you know some of the concerns that you're going to be talking about during the class, choosing oils based on those concerns so that you can begin to address the concerns with the oils that you're passing around already. It's also a good idea. We know that the kits that we're going to talk about at the end, making sure that some of those oils are in the kits so that you can say, okay, just like in this kit and this kit, and that you can refer back to it at the end when you're talking about the oils at the very end, talking about how to get a kit.
Yeah. So for aromatic, the hows to use it, and then why are you going to use an oil aromatically? You're going to use an oil aromatically to either change the mood, to now I'm having a relapse, to open up your airways, or to kill off the germs or the airborne pathogens. You're going to kill those off in the air. And then you move on to topical. And again, you're going to say the how to use it topically, and then why would you use it topically. So again, how you're going to use it topically, we talk about how it's not really rocket science. You're literally just going to put an oil where the area of concern is. This is a great time that you can talk about combining your essential oils with a carrier oil of some sort. And some people want to ask a little bit more specific questions about dilution and things like that. For the sake of time, you could kind of direct them to answering that maybe at the end of class. And then why you're going to use an oil topically really is more just, you're going to put it where an area of concern is on the body. So internal use, again, how and why. And then you're going to mention how this is exclusive to doTERRA. Now, we haven't really, let me see, let me go back and let me make sure. So we haven't really talked about.
We mentioned earlier.
No, we haven't, because we haven't done the company story yet.
Well, we mentioned earlier that when we talked about what an essential oil is, we talked about the purity and the potency. And so sometimes we would talk about doTERRA is different because we do third-party testing, so we know that oils are pure. And so that space could either go in the front or a little bit later when you talk about the company itself.
Right.
And so if you happen to talk about it up front, then it's really easy at this point to say, remember, what we talked about with the purity with regards to the third-party testing. Essential oils are unregulated. So that's why we're talking about the fact that doTERRA is the only company that we would do internal.
So with the hows, with internal, you can talk about how you can put a drop under your tongue. You can put a small amount in a glass of water. You may want to mention that oils go best in stainless steel or glass. And then, or you can put them in a veggie capsule if it's a more spicy oil. And then why would you want to use an oil internally? That's usually to address something in your digestive system or just kind of overall immune support. So your 3 ways, and then each way you're going to tell the how you use it in that way and then why you would use it in that way.
And it also helps to mention that this is the order we recommend using them in.
Mm-hmm.
First you do it aromatically, and then topically, and then finally internally would be the last.
So, so let's go back here. This is where we've been talking about, so we've gained input with them through the wellness pyramid. And now we're talking about the company story here when we're talking about what oils are and how to use them. Now you can either say what oils are and how to use them first, like we just did, and then talk about purity and potency of the oils, and it probably would go best actually the other way around. So bear with us, you guys. I told you we're kind of tweaking through how this goes best. But so as you're telling about doTERRA, you want to focus on 2 main areas of what makes them different: purity and potency. And this is what helps them to be educated to know why they don't want to leave the class or don't want to leave meeting with you and walk to Walgreens. Do they have oils at Walgreens now too?
Probably.
Or to the dollar store or to Best Buy or even to Whole Foods and pick up that bottle of lavender that you told them about, because it's not the same purity and it's not the same potency. And I challenge you guys, if you've never experienced an oil outside of doTERRA like we have, it is true. Yeah. We've experienced it ourselves. And doTERRA goes above and beyond to ensure there's a third party that's testing each liter of oils to ensure for you that there's no fillers, there's no pesticides, there's no chemicals, that every liter is tested to be safe and effective and fast. And so that's the one main difference about doTERRA: purity. The second one is potency, that their essential oils are sourced where the plants are native or where they're indigenous. And that is going to make a huge difference in the chemical parts of the plant and how potent they are. So they need to be able to walk away from the class or time with you to understand that doTERRA is different in that way. So you could talk about the purity and potency first and then go to what oils are and how to use them. And this is when you want to begin to say doTERRA is the company that people turn to when they are trying to, and then you're going to fill in the blank with the answer to the health concerns that they've been telling you. All this time, they've been starting to tell you either from what they said they wanted to learn in the class or from the time when you talk about the wellness pyramid, they've been telling you some of their health concerns and some of their problems. And so this is your time to begin to say doTERRA is who families turn to when they're having trouble with their kids sleeping. doTERRA is the company that moms turn to when they're stressed. doTERRA is the company that people turn to when, and so you're just going to fill in the blank with actually things that they've been telling you. Okay? Okay, let's see. So now if you're running short on time, or if you aren't running short on time, this is an optional part, okay? This is where you can briefly tell your story. You know, if you're doing okay on time and you feel like it could be really helpful, your story happens to really relate well to the person that you're talking with, or really would really maybe resonate with the people that are there, then this is the time where you could just share briefly 1 or 2 sentences about kind of how you got yourself into this mess too, or how you started using oils. And again, because this is not about you, and this is a little, if you've been with doTERRA for a little while, this is a little different because we are typically taught to share your story. And there is a time and a place to share your story, but it's not necessarily in the first encounter or the first kind of class. And it's definitely not the first thing they want to hear, because people really want to know about how this is going to help them. They really don't want to care about how it's helped you. Maybe if it's a good friend, but if it's not, they really don't, it's really not pertinent to them. So, okay, so here's now where you're going to personalize the kit. You want to talk about this?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I love this. I was just thinking, I think this is one of my favorite parts.
Okay, go for it then.
So basically, you're going to remind them of the things that they said they needed help with. All right. You said you had trouble relaxing in the evening. So the next time you struggle to get relaxed, what you're going to do is, and listen to the way I'm saying it, you're putting in their picture, you're putting a picture in their brain of what's going to happen down the road when they have their oils. Okay. So you said that you have trouble in the evening getting relaxed and going to sleep. So next time that happens, what you're going to do is you're going to get some lavender, you're going to rub it on the bottoms of your feet, and then you're going to rub a little bit on the back of your neck. Or you could use your diffuser and you could diffuse a couple of drops, and that's going to help you fall asleep. Okay, so, and all we're doing is this little template. We're going to create a template. Okay, you said that one of the things you struggle with is you feel like fill in the blank. And so the next time you struggle with this, what you're going to do is you're going to get fill in the blank oil, and you're going to tell them how to use it. Okay? Very simple, very straightforward. All you're doing is giving them a picture of a brand new life that they're going to be able to begin to experience. Okay? So, and it's simple, it's easy. We all have those stories, and it's easy for us to work through those. And they even, Amy was talking to a lady yesterday, a couple of days ago, and she said, you know, and I know you're a parent, and so I know you're tired of pulling stickers off the wall and off the furniture and off of the shoes and off of everything else. And so the next time your kid takes a sticker and puts it on the car window, what you're going to do is you're going to go with a lemon essential oil, and you're going to use that lemon oil to just help you scrape it off. And what you're going to do is you're going to put a drop, you're going to rub it on, you're going to scrape the sticker off and get a paper towel, and you're going to wipe it off, and it's going to be brand new all over again.
Parents, okay? Stickers everywhere on something.
I see all these heads nodding because we've all experienced it before. And that's the goal. Okay, we want them to say, yes, oh yeah, I've been there. Because they have. We're picking things that they've already told us. This is an experience that you've already told me you have. And so, you know, the next time you eat that Mexican food and your tummy is just not quite right, or, you know, somebody brings over salsa that is super spicy and you're sitting there eating this spicy salsa and you know, I'm talking to you. You're eating this spicy salsa and you think to yourself, gurgle, gurgle, gurgle. So what you're going to do is you're going to go get the Digestin and you're going to rub a little bit on your throat, and it's going to help you with the, you know, with whatever it is that you're dealing. So you put that frame of reference in their mind, that pattern in their mind, so that you can get them down the road. The next time that happens, then again, the important part is the next time that happens to them, you've already told them what to do. Mm-hmm. You've already told them. And so we have less of an issue then of somebody getting a kit of oils, taking it and going, ooh, my shiny new oils, and putting it on the shelf and leaving it there until it's all dusty. And now they've got those shiny new oils, and they remember there's a sticker on the window. Oh, wait a minute. Nichelle already told me what to do about that. So let me go find the lemon oil, and you go grab that lemon oil. Okay. Oh, man, I'm having the indigestion again. Oh, wait a minute. Heather told me what to do, and I experienced that. And so you go, and I get that Digestin, and I take it, and I take a swallow internally, or I rub it on my throat to help me out. Okay. And so you've already put the pattern in their brain. So now they take it and they run with it. Okay. And then when they start using those oils, they're going to have a good experience. And that's exactly what we want. They're going to have a good experience because the oils work. We know that. The oils work. They're going to have a good experience. They're going to want more. It's going to benefit them. And so we have done exactly what we want. We've helped them to succeed with the oils. So then we talk about personalizing those kits. And so as you're sharing, one of the things you can begin to do is say, okay, so when you get your kit, okay, I'm going to teach you some of the oils that you can use to address your issues that are in the Home Essentials kit today. That's the kit that we're going to talk about. All right. And you can go through then and say, okay, so you have lemon oil, because you know the Home Essentials kit is going to cover everything they're going to say. That there's an oil in the kit for whatever it is that they say. Okay. And so now you say, okay, the Home Essentials kit comes with a respiratory blend of oil called Breathe. And so the next time you go outside and you're having issues with, then use that. Okay, the Home Essentials kit also comes with lemon. And so you personalize that kit so they already see themselves with that kit. Okay. If you feel like it's a person that needs a diffuser, then you point them to the kit that's got the diffuser. Well, the Natural Solutions kit that comes with the diffuser does it. Okay. And so you're trying to point them in that direction and let them know that this is the kit that you really should get. Okay. And then if they say, oh, that's just, I can't do that, then we begin to work about kind of taking a step back. But you know what? The Family Essentials kit has all those same oils, but instead of having 250 servings, you notice that we didn't say, instead of having 15 ml bottles, because that's one of those words that we just throw around and nobody really knows what we're talking about, not even us sometimes, right?
But we understand serving.
Yeah, but we definitely understand serving. So it has 250 servings in each one of those bottles. So the Home Essentials has 250 servings, and the Family Essentials only has 85 servings in each, but it's got all the same oils. It just has less of each one of the oils, fewer servings in each oil. Okay, so then you can take them back a step to a less expensive kit if they feel like finances are going to be a struggle for them. So, but we want them to understand also the value and the number of servings that they're going to get. You're going to get 10 oils that have 85 servings in each one of those oils. So that's a lot. I mean, you're getting a lot of value, a lot of benefit in these oils. So making sure that they're understanding that.
Can I just pause for just a second? So what we're walking through here is a basics introductory class. So we're not really right now practicing or thinking about branching out in different topics of classes, although those are great. But at this point in the game, it's really best to really hone teaching a basics introductory class, because the better that you can get in that, then it will be easier for you to branch out into different topics, maybe a specific area that you find personal to you. Maybe it's sports. Jim's about to do a class just for athletes in a couple of weeks. You'll be able to use these same tools and techniques and take some of those and then just more specialize them with those oils and areas. But I would focus right now on working through this. And so when we do an introductory class, we're mostly focusing on talking about the oils that are in the Home Essentials kit. And because it's a good option for a lot of people, and then you can always move up or down accordingly in the kits, if that makes sense to you guys. But we've taken out, in the presenting, we've taken out what's in the tear sheet from Share Success, or if you print out from doTERRA, all the enrollment kits. We're paring down all, I don't know, how many, eight kits does doTERRA have, something like that, maybe even more than that. Yeah. It's too overwhelming for people. And another reason why they might go home to look at all the different kits and then decide which one they're going to get. If you can pare it down to maybe 2 options for what might be most likely for your audience. So we're talking about the Home Essentials kit and the Family Essentials kit right now is what Jim's talking about. But if you can pare it down to 2 kits for them, it will help them make a better decision. Just kind of want to throw that in there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think, and it's easy, I think, sometimes to kind of get, to feel like we're slinging, that we're just slinging oils here all of a sudden, but really we're trying to help people make a good, informed decision and take some of the muddiness out of it so that they can see a good end result.
Because you and I both know they need the oils.
Yeah.
And sometimes when they leave and you think, gosh, I know they need these, they're dealing with this and this and this, and they have no solutions, or they're tired of the side effects. and you know they need them, but maybe they either are too overwhelmed or don't quite know what decision to make best. And so if you can just help them do that better by limiting their choices, then let's do that. And then they'll have their membership, so they can always expand and get other oils later, get other products.
And they might even say, while you're talking to them, they might say, well, do you have an oil for monthly issues that I might have? Well, yeah, they have an oil called Clear, and you talk to them about different oils. And then if they say, well, do they have a kit that has all of these oils in it? Then you can work up to the bigger kits to help them with that, if you feel the need to. Or if they say, God, I really want the oils, but we just can't do $150 right now. Then you can work to, the introductory kit that has 3 oils in it. And so there are some different options that you can look at, different ways that you can tailor it up and down to them. But just giving them a good bracket to start from, a good little ground, a good foundation to begin with, is going to be really helpful moving forward to help them make a good informed decision. So you can go some different directions after you kind of establish that baseline, but just make sure that you've got a good start there. Okay. So one of the things that we'll be doing also is to give kind of an introductory, hey, if you purchase something today, then it wouldn't be my job to ask, or I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask you, do you feel like you'd like to purchase the kit today? And so to give them the opportunity to purchase right away, because you need to ask and give them and provide that opportunity, but then also to give them an incentive. And it doesn't have to be, and if you purchase something today, I will throw in a diffuser and I'll pay for your first LRP for free and a back rub, and I'll deliver the oils by hand to you, and I'll cook dinner. I mean, it doesn't have to be this great big thing, but just something really simple like, what we'll do today is if you purchase the oils today, I've got this little Breathe Stick that this is amazing. I love this thing. And you can go home with this Breathe Stick today if you decide to purchase right now.
You guys, you don't have to go all out and have classes where we actually just attended a class a couple of weeks ago where the people who were teaching the class were giving a diffuser away, just randomly giving a petal diffuser. And although that's great, and we encourage you to be generous with your giving, what happens is when you just randomly give a diffuser away like that just to give it away, just for being there, mm-hmm. It devalues the products, because doTERRA is usually already giving some, like right now, the New Year, New You promotion. I mean, that's amazing. Mm-hmm. That in itself is a huge promotion, and the oils are a huge value. So you don't have to go around giving away just loads and loads of things, just for people attending, because what happens is and that was it, she was saying that's how she got the people to come to the class, by saying that she was going to give a diffuser away. And what happens is, if that's what got them to the class, many times that's what begins to keep them, so now what are you going to give me? And I almost cringe saying those things, because we love being generous in our giving, in our business. We love giving to people in need, but we don't want you to just be giving for the sake of giving to get somebody to just come to a class. It just really devalues the product. Okay, that was enough of my little soapbox about that.
Yes.
I just saw Michelle says, I found an essential oil recipe for shoe spray online, and that was similar to one of doTERRA's recipes, but recommended 30 or 40 drops. Yeah, illustrates the lack of potency. Absolutely.
You're absolutely
You can
right.
find recipes online sometimes of generic oils, and yes, they'll have crazy amounts of oils in them, and you just don't need that.
Yeah. We were at my mom's over Christmas, and she has a diffuser and some oils that we gave, that they bought from us, and she had another oil that was, I don't even know what it was, and I said, why are you using that? She said, whoa, I just love the way it smells. And I said, yeah, but there's other stuff in it, and it's not just oil. She's like, well, that's true, because when I use your oil, I use 2 drops and it's great. But when I use that one, I put like 15 drops in there to smell it. And I'm like, yeah, so what's the other stuff that's in there? And she kind of moved on, but yes, you're exactly right, Michelle. That's a great point.
Yeah. So, and Matt says you have to run your business like a business. Yes, yes.
That's right. Because it is a business.
It's a business. Yeah.
That's right.
Okay, so practice presenting. So if you can watch people present, practice presenting in front of your kids, in front of your spouse, but just practice.
One of the greatest things that you can do is we all have a cell phone that has video on it now, almost all of us, but we have a cell phone that's got video on it. One of the best things that you can do is take a video of yourself teaching, speaking, and then watch that back. You'll be amazed at the little things that you do that annoy yourself to begin with, how funny your voice sounds, but you'll see and pick up on little tics that you might not have had any idea that you do. And so it's a great way to kind of clean up the way that you speak. And you can listen to yourself and hear the words that you say, inflection, things like that, just to make sure that you're saying it in a good way with confidence. So that's a great way to kind of improve on that presentation.
Now, some of what we talked about tonight in presenting is some of what Tasha Smith is going to share with us tomorrow, although you guys are going to want to be on there because I am not Tasha Smith, and I am not I do not own a sales training company, but some of what she'll share, and so she'll also probably be sharing scripts as well that will kind of help you if you're wondering, like, but also we're going to have this recorded too, so if you want to go back and review, but that's what I had to do. I felt like presenting was my weakest area in us doing this business. Jim's always been a public speaker, being a pastor. He presents all the time. He used to be a teacher. And so that's an area of great skill for him. And for me, I felt like, even by the time we reached gold, I felt like that was still a very weak area for me. And so probably in the last year, I've truly tried to focus more on practicing that more and getting better at that. And so, thanks, Kim. But really trying to hone that, because it is a skill and something you can learn to get better at if you feel like you're not very good at it. So, so some action items for tonight. We want you to observe at least 3 different introductory classes. So if you're local, I mentioned you can attend one of the Jitters classes in Atascocita, and you can find the dates for those on roxysaran.com. You are welcome to attend one of, right now we don't have, well, yes, we actually do have a local intro class that we're actually doing with the Reels. So if anybody wants to attend, everybody come to the Reels house on Saturday. We're doing an introductory class there this Saturday at 1 p.m. and in Kingwood. You're welcome to come and, nervously I say, come and observe us. Please don't observe us, but you're welcome to observe that class. We have a team leader, Jenny Johnson, in the area locally. So these are local options so far right now. Locally, who is going to be starting Diamond Club next month. And she will be posting those events, and she'll be teaching classes all over, but including Kingwood and all of in the Houston area as well. And so you guys are welcome to come and attend any of those classes as well if you would like to observe introductory classes. Right now we don't have any online scheduled, but we typically will do an introductory one online that you're welcome to see and observe. And we usually have all of our classes listed on our Facebook page, 3 Life Essentials. You can go there. Oh, awesome. Melissa's doing one at your house, Michelle, on Sunday. Okay. So, and Melissa is excellent as well. And so you guys can also observe her too. So if you're needing some places or needing some ways to get to observe different people presenting, let us know and we can get you hooked up with those. Okay. Make sure you have all the things that you need to present. Clipboards. Do you have oils to be able to pass around, or at least to show? Do you have enrollment forms? Now we have 2 enrollment forms now, one for wholesale customers and one for wellness advocates. I like to have both when I meet with people because then it's a great opportunity to ask them, you know, whether or not they see themselves potentially sharing or wanting to build a business with doTERRA. You'd be surprised who says they're wanting more information about that, right, Matt? I've had somebody who actually sat like this, kind of huffed in a class, an entire class one time, and then at the end said she thought she probably, I didn't even think she would enroll, let alone anything else, and she wanted the wellness advocate form because she thought she might want to be interested in knowing more about the business. So you never know. And then if you haven't already scheduled some presentations yet, do that. If you haven't already signed up for direct deposit, please do that. And just keep working on your pipes. Keep working through those. We went a little bit over again tonight. Again, I'm so sorry, you guys. Anybody, please unmute yourself if you want to share anything, share some feedback with us. Please don't tell how horribly we presented tonight, but but any feedback or any questions you have about us, we're halfway through. This is week 3, so we have 3 more weeks left to go. Anybody have anything?
Kim and I will be furiously taking notes on